Hello everyone and welcome to the online field instructor orientation. We've broken this up into some sections, so hopefully it'll be the most useful to you. At the end, you'll take some quizzes to demonstrate that you have understood the material and so that we can monitor who has taken the orientation, as orientation is now mandatory every 2 years for our field instructors, either in person, which is our preference, or online if you're unable to attend the in-person orientation. I want to welcome everyone, and again, thank you so much for being a field instructor for the school. We really appreciate your service and appreciate that you are impacting our future social workers and helping our students to achieve their goals. You have been sent some materials that hopefully will help you understand and support your student in the best way possible as you go along with this orientation through the PowerPoint. Please consult the materials that we've provided for you, whether that's the learning plans or the journal examples that we've provided or the webinar for task stream. You can also find the manuals online at the School of Social Work's website under field, and then on the left hand menu you can see student documents and you'll be able to choose the manual that you would like to look at. That has all of our policy information and also has some of the forms. And then under student documents you can also see each of the forms if you need some backup. There's also a menu item for field instructors that has some additional resources available there for you. This practicum is for field instructors that may be supervising our first year MSWs and or our second year MSWs. Our first year MSWs are taking Social Work 7971, their first practicum experience. This practicum experience is a generalist practicum where the students should be doing micro, meso, and macro work. The second year students are divided into 3 different specialties. They're the clinical students, the policy planning and administration students, and the integrated health students. That practicum is Social Work 8971, and again, those are our advanced students completing their final practicum. Some definitions for those of you that have not gone through our system before. The field instructor is the person supervising the student within MSW. That person may be within the agency or can be outside of the agency. If the MSW is outside of the agency, the student would also have what's called a task supervisor. That task supervisor is the person overseeing the student's day-to-day work at the agency. And that task supervisor would still be involved in looking at the journals and providing feedback and collaborating with the MSW supervising the practicum. There is also a faculty liaison. The faculty liaison is the person at the school that is supervising the practicum and providing the grades. Practicum 1, as an overview, is a 400-hour practicum. It is typically 24 hours a week. Some students, however, can choose to complete the practicum part-time, which means they are between 16 and 24 hours per week. That will extend the student's practicum into the following semester. MSW Practicum 2, which is again 8971, is 680 hours. That's typically done 5 days a week for 40 hours a week, which is called a block placement. Students, again, may extend their practicum if they have a job or have other responsibilities. They must do a minimum of 24 hours a week, so typically it's 24 to 40 hours a week. That means that they will not graduate in one semester, but they will, again, go into the following semester and graduate at the end of that following semester. At some dates to remember for 7971, that first foundational practicum. You can see those dates here on your screen to help you understand the flow of the semester and some of the expectations.
Those dates tend to be pretty specific in spring and more variations and flexible in summer according to the schedule of the individual student. We complete 2 site visits for 7971. That initial first site visit is in approximately the first 4 weeks of the student's practicum to ensure that the student is getting off to a good start and has a very firm and thoughtful learning plan in order to move forward successfully. We complete a second site visit at midterm, approximately halfway through the student's practicum. You can see these dates here. Those evaluations at midterm and during that meeting need to be submitted in TaskStream prior to the faculty liaison completing a visit to the agency when they visit with the student and the field instructor, and if you have a task supervisor, the task supervisor as well. To begin the evaluation process, the student will complete a self-evaluation. Then the field instructor will complete an evaluation of the student's performance. And then the student will initiate a signature page as well. And that evaluation will be reviewed at that midterm site visit. You can see here the final date. There is not a third visit, so we just have those 2 visits. The student and the field instructor are responsible for submitting that final evaluation and the student's signature page in time for the student to receive a grade. We cannot provide the student with a grade unless we have a full final evaluation and signature page completed. So it's very important to complete that by the date you see on your screen here in order for the student to move forward successfully in the field program.
Let's briefly review some student responsibilities during practicum. TaskStream is our software data system. Students will enter all of their assignment information into TaskStream. Field instructors will then monitor and review all of those assignments in TaskStream, and faculty liaisons will review and also grade assignments in TaskStream. So students need to get familiar with that. They have all been trained on TaskStream and are now making sure that they are active with their TaskStream plans and are reviewing the system. Students also need to be aware of their assignments. They have gone through orientation just as you are doing now, and they have due dates, and they need to be aware of those due dates and share those due dates with their field instructors. They're responsible to turn in those assignments by the due date. Students also, while they're at the practicum, are expected to practice good time management. It's important that they are not on the internet, trying to waste time on social media or do other things. Please give them projects or things that they can do on downtime if a client doesn't show up or if a project falls through or whatever the case may be, that they have some kind of project work that they can work on and fill in those gaps. Or they can be working on their journal or other academic responsibilities that the student may have. It's also important when looking at time management to remember that the student is just that, a student, and not an employee. And so they should have adequate time available to them to complete assignments, to have reflection, and to have adequate supervision. So if you hear that they are not having time to complete their academic work for field, then it is possible that they have too much work or are having some difficulty in managing their time. And so it's something to discuss with them at that point. Students are asked also to participate openly and actively in the assessment of their own performance. They should be asking about their performance with you on a weekly basis, talking to you in supervision, and always have an accurate understanding of their progress and of the expectations in practicum, and if there's any kind of deficiencies and areas for which they need to improve. Students are asked to treat you and other field instructors with great respect. You are a volunteer and you are choosing to be a teacher and impact our future social workers, and that deserves respect. You're sharing your wisdom with our students, and so I'm asking them to please present themselves in a professional manner. Students at some points will want to miss class for field. There might be a meeting that's happening at the agency, or there may be a group that they've really wanted to see, but it's only held at times that they have a class. We ask that students do not miss class for field. So at that point, they would need to not attend that group or whatever function it may be. Even though it may be a very positive experience, they do need to attend their classes. And then the students are also asked to communicate with the field instructor, the faculty liaison, and the field director about any issues. If there's anything that is coming up, if there's any problems, concerns, questions, that those are getting asked immediately and addressed immediately as well. Field instructor responsibilities. Field instructors are also asked to become familiar and begin using TaskStream as soon as they have a password. You should have received your password in the first couple of weeks of December. If you have overlooked that password, or as some people have done, deleted that because you don't recognize the person sending it, you should contact TaskStream and let them know that you did not yet get your password and could they please send it to you again. Making sure to give them your name and your email address and which type of student you are supervising. If you look at the information that was given to you on the TaskStream guide, on the front page of that guide, there is a phone number and an email for TaskStream that you can use to be able to find your logon information. You can also always email Suzanne Carey and talk to her about how to get that password. You cannot log on without that password. It will ask you to pay money and do different things, but you don't owe any money. That's all been taken care of, and so you need to either call TaskStream or contact myself to get your password so that you can begin looking into TaskStream and becoming familiar with the system. We also ask that our field instructors orient the student and welcome the student to the agency. Be ready for the student to arrive. Know when he or she is going to arrive and have a plan for the first week or even 2 weeks for an orientation, to shadow certain people, to look at some of the policies and information, start completing the learning plan, look at the checklist, have kind of a plan for those first couple of weeks. Have the other staff in the office aware that the student's coming so that everyone can be welcoming, and let that student know that he or she is valued and that they have been ready for them and are excited to have them. The field instructor is also asked to help with the formulation of the learning plan and to complete the one orientation checklist. Students will have some ideas of what they would like on the learning plan, but you will have intimate knowledge of the runnings of the agency and opportunities that exist within the agency. And so you'll need to help brainstorm with the student about what kind of things they would like to write on their learning plan and how to go about doing that. So it's definitely a collaborative process. Field instructors are asked to review journals and to provide significant feedback. Students often say that the one area that's the most important to them is their relationship with their field instructor and the feedback that they've received on their journals. They want to have good, specific feedback so that they can understand that they're on the right track, or if they're on the right track, or if there are other things that possibly they need to consider. It's very important to them as they feel very unsure of themselves, especially at the beginning of practicum. They need to be able to check themselves, make sure that they're progressing as they should, that they have an accurate understanding, and that they are ready to progress to the next level. They need to be able to build that confidence And some of that confidence comes through feeling the certainty that they are on the right track and that they're moving forward as predicted. The field instructor also, the MSW field instructor, has the responsibility to assist with the integration of practice and theory. Those that are task supervisors obviously have more difficulty with this because they don't know the curriculum of the social worker as much. However, the MSW will help to serve this part of that field instructor role. Integration of practice and theory is very important. The whole reason for practicum is to integrate what they've been learning in the classroom into practice. They are now applying their learning. So helping them to see that, yes, this is what I learned in class and here's how I'm using it in practice. And helping them to see the connection between there, that they're not first in coursework and then in practicum, that those two sections of their education are blended together and integrated. Field instructors are also required to provide a minimum of 1 hour a week of formal supervision. This is required by our accrediting body. Even if you are with your student on a regular basis, it's very important that you still set aside 1 formal hour of supervision a week so that you can sit down and meet with the student, allow them to answer questions, have an opportunity, allow them to ask questions that you can answer, allow them the opportunity to review all of the information that they have been looking at and doing in the past week. What's the progress with their projects? What's the progress with their clients? What are they working on? What are their questions? It's also important that they have that time to sit down and review their learning plan with you, to discuss integration of practice and theory, to discuss their ongoing evaluation. And that's not going to happen off the cuff because you're busy and everybody's working on getting the job done in those off-the-cuff interactions. But that 1 hour a week is that time to sit down and have some real reflection. Field instructor is also responsible for completing and helping to submit the midterm and the final evaluations, along with evaluation that's continual throughout the practicum experience. Field instructors will meet with the faculty liaison when needed, a minimum of 1 time for second year students, a minimum of 2 times for first year students, and then as needed. Field instructors, just like students, they're asked to inform us of concerns. So please let the faculty liaison and the student know of any concerns and the field director if needed.